ये business HDFC AMC for the next 5-10 for Indian investor access to global market, and for global investors access to Indian market. Corporate credit, the returns are high, no doubt, but there is also a risk. Just before COVID, we have seen Diwan Housing Finance defaulting. We have seen ILFS defaulting, and there is a lot of. Hello and welcome to Stocks, Stories and Skills. Today we'll discuss HDFC AMCs or the HDFC mutual funds, two new businesses. One is the international subsidiary and another is the credit fund, which comes under the entire AIF vertical. So this is the chart I have on HDFC AMC's strategic expansion. Now ये business HDFC AMC for the next 5, 10, 20 years के लिए build कर रहा है. तो ये नए दो businesses क्या हैं? One is the domestic credit fund. Now this comes under the AIF vertical, the alternative investment fund. So this will focus on credit opportunities. Second is the international subsidiary which they have set up in Gujarat Gift City. This will provide access to global market for Indian investor. So for Indian investor, access to global market, and for global investors, access to Indian market. So this will work in two ways. Global investors are already investing in India, via Gift City into HDFC AMC's fund, and tomorrow even the Indian investors or the retail investor can invest in the global funds. Now this is where they need expertise, and they have not launched any fund, but this will come very soon. So there are two verticals going forward, which in a way will gain scale, and we will see a lot of activity going forward in these two verticals. But before that, let's understand the existing business model. So the biggest head today is the domestic mutual fund business. Now HDFC AMC आज तीसरी largest AMC है इंडिया में. सबसे आगे है SBI फंड्स, जिनके टोटल AUM, दैट इज एसेट अंडर मैनेजमेंट 11 लाख करोड़ है. उसके बाद ICICI प्रूडेंशियल एसेट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी है, जिसके AUM है 8.74 लाख करोड़, एंड HDFC AMC की AUM है 7.74 लाख करोड़. सो इस ICICI एंड HDFC आर ऑलमोस्ट नेक एंड नेक. एंड अगर हम पूरा डोमेस्टिक बिजनेस अभी देखें तो 65% AUM जो आती है वो इक्विटी से आती है स्कीम से, एंड 22% जो है डेट से है. सो बेसिकली टुडे द HDFC AMC इज ए डोमेस्टिक फंड हाउस. जो AIF का बिजनेस मॉडल है जो मैंने आपको बताया, उसके अंदर वन दे हैव दिस फंड ऑफ फंड. नाउ दिस इज द फर्स्ट इनिशिएटिव HDFC AMC took under the AIF fund. Now this fund invests in venture capital and private equity oriented AIFs. So in September last year, they successfully closed the fund, where they got commitment of around 1,200 odd crore, and there is also a requirement from regulator to have some skin in the game. So there is a 10% investment limit which AMC invests via its balance sheet. So this is the current existing business, and next in line, like we discussed, is the credit AMC. The credit opportunities fund. It has already got approval to launch the credit fund, and we'll see more offering within the alternative space. So अगर हम credit fund देखें, so one big feature of credit fund is the higher returns. When they are investing in corporates. Now the big corporates, they don't need money. I mean, they can directly access market or go to bank, and even if they're raising money through banks, they get the finest rate, the lowest rate. Now, the opportunity for HDFC AMC is to target the emerging corporates and the mid-size corporate, and that's where returns are high. So going forward, if you have credit fund and if you can scale up these things, because today HDFC has the balance sheet to do such activity, but there is also increased risk. So इसमें risk भी है. We have seen in the past, when mutual funds they have invested money in lower rated corporates. So we have seen a lot of defaults. So Templeton one was one, big, which we have seen in the past. But let's discuss this thing in more detail. If you invest, in corporate credit, the returns are high, no doubt, but there is also a risk element. Let's move to the next chart. So as you can see, there is a decline in popularity of credit risk fund. Now, high profile defaults. If you see, just before COVID, we have seen Diwan Housing Finance defaulting. We have seen ILFS defaulting, and there is a lot of regulatory tightening also from SEBI, and there is also increased compliance and all. Now, if you see, the big risk in such thing is the market stress period. So अगर GDP नीचे गिर रहा है and the market is tight, we have seen in the corporate sector defaults going up. Like today, if you see in MSME, the defaults are increasing. MFI is another business, and in the 2000 to 2008-9 period, we saw a lot of corporates, big corporates defaulting. In such situation, the liquidity becomes a big issue because of difficulty in exiting those positions. Now, in the past, there is also investor confidence erosion in such funds, and we saw exit of 6 debt fund when this Franklin Templeton crisis happened. So HDFC AMC has big plans on the credit side, but this is not without risk. इस segment में बहुत risk है, and going forward we will see how this space develops. I mean, HDFC is going to target sophisticated high net worth individuals, लेकिन इस सेगमेंट में रिस्क भी है बिकॉज उनका खुद का भी 10% कैपिटल उसमें लगेगा. Now this is the global investment platform. Now this second vertical is again going to be a big vertical going forward, and if you see, HDFC AMC launches international arm in Gift City. So in the Gift City they have set up a subsidiary. Now Gift City attracts a lot of global investors to India. So global investors can come via Gift City, invest in Indian funds, and get the fruits of Indian growth story. दूसरा है global investors tap into India's growth potential. Second big thing is where Indian investors can invest in the global markets, whether it's China, whether it's US, or let's say some other emerging market. But the big risk for the second one, where the Indian investor investing abroad, there is a forex or the exchange risk involved. And second, people don't have much information about these companies. So these two verticals looks very promising, whether it's credit or the international. These are also can yield high returns for the fund, but there is also a risk. Thank you.